and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our last episode where we were lucky enough to sit down with the amazing, beautiful Summer Scalero. Today, for episode number 315, we are going to do a 5-minute clinic on why you should stop worrying about things you can't control.
Before we jump into this episode, though, I want to talk to you a little bit about coaching and why it is so important. I was listening to a Darren Hardy program earlier this week, and he talks about being on an inner tube in a lake and how if you were to lay your head back for 10 minutes, you're going to end up very far from where you were because of the drift. He says people don't fall off their goals, they drift from them. So if you've ever set a New Year's resolution and then not completed it, which we all have, what's the real reason? Did you just suddenly stop doing it, or did you start to just slowly drift off course? As you've heard me say before, I picture running around a track, those two white lines, you got to stay within them. That's my job as your coach. That's Kevin's job, is to make sure you stay on point with what you intended to do. Hit us up. I have 2 spots open. I think Kevin
I do as well.
does as well.
I do as well.
Okay.
I just got 2 new clients. Shout out to you 2. You know who you are. Amazing young women. I'm very excited to start working with you. And I have another possible podcast client that I'm going to start with as well. So things are really, really, really picking up. So instead of talking about Hyperconscious Nation, which if you want to be part of something bigger and you want to feel like you belong, you can definitely go to the website and find that, or just search it on Facebook. Our buddy, Marky Hollett, gave me one of his shirts, Living Legends. It's about mental health.
Right.
That's what it's all about. This company is about mental health, and as you guys know, like one of my things when I was younger and starting this is I wanted to be able to wear people's stuff that I believed in and help promote people that I believed in. So I think $5 out of every purchase goes to some mental health organization. I should probably have more info because I'm jeffing. But if you go to, I think it's Living Legends LLC on Instagram, you can get yourself one of these shirts. And shout out to Marky for starting something.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. I know how hard it is to start a business. So shout out to him. And I said, let me know if I can help. We got a workout in this morning.
He reached out and said that he has a shirt with my name on it as well.
Jeff.
So I'm excited.
Jeff. Okay. So we are going to talk about why you should stop worrying about things that you can't fix or you can't control or you can't solve.
Right.
I'm going to let you kind of direct this because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
All right, so let me try to create some context here. So there's a book I've been reading, as you all know, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, one of my main mentors who I was at dinner with last night. I asked him not long ago what his favorite book was. He said that's actually a common theme with many of my mentors, believe it or not. But he talks about this concept called the circle of concern and how people's circle of concern and their circle of influence are very different. And there's 3 types of things that you have influence over. You have direct influence, you have indirect influence, and you have no influence. And what he talks about with ineffective people, unsuccessful people at achieving their goals, they're too concerned with things they have no control over. So we want to kind of give examples of each, and then the major takeaway is basically try not to concern yourself and put emotional and cognitive function into things that you literally have nothing to do with.
This is something that I've been talking to my clients about a lot lately, is like, do you have any control over this, or are you just worrying about something that may or may not happen?
Right.
It may or may not happen, sure, but is there anything that you can do about it right now?
Right.
No. Okay, well, we have to kind of disassociate from that. So we wrote down examples for us so you guys could get specific on your own example. So number 1, direct influence. I have direct influence on my fitness goals. If I want to get stronger, then I have to do the things necessary. I have to eat more. I have to do my mobility. I have to make sure I'm hitting my water. I have to make sure I'm getting my sleep. I alone am in charge of that. I have direct influence over that.
Right.
So again, for you, that's fitness goals.
Yeah.
Right? That's, if you're watching this, that's fitness goals. And then we'll go into the indirect influence and then no influence as well. But I want you guys to figure out what it is for you so you can double down on that.
So here's an example. Let's say, so Kevin has direct influence over his fitness goals. Let's say I was his coach. I have indirect influence over his fitness goals. I can influence him to do more and be more effective, but I can't directly influence him. I can't actually force him to take an action.
Talk about yours.
Oh, so what I did for direct influence versus indirect influence, I put character versus reputation. So your character is what you really are. Your reputation is what other people think of you or believe about you. So imagine you give a speech in front of 1,000 people. I've used this example before. You're going to leave with one character, but 1,000 different reputations. And so one of them you do have indirect influence over. Like if you go on stage and say a bunch of hateful things, of course more of those people are going to think you're a terrible person. So you do have indirect influence, but What you have direct influence over is your character, which is who you really are inside.
So for me, in indirect influence, I put podcast growth. Now, there's a lot of things that I can do. I can make good teaser clips. I can send videos to the people who follow me. I can, thank people for resharing. I can do all of that stuff. But there's certain things that I just can't control.
You send Alan teaser clips?
I can send Alan teaser clips, yeah, the wrong ones.
Right.
But there's certain things that I just can't control. Like, I can't control how many people see my posts.
Right.
I can't control how many people reshare the episodes. I can't control any of that. So I have to focus, and this is what I've done. I focused on all right, let me focus on the things that I know make the biggest difference, that I'm in control of.
Right.
I don't know algorithms. There's certain things that I don't have the power over, but that's why you double down on the stuff that you can control.
Right. In that example, it's interesting because, okay, you do have direct influence over what the teaser clip comes out as, but you have indirect influence about how other people receive it.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting, they're correlated. But so the third thing, the timer's about to go off here, no influence. A lot of people who are what Stephen Covey refers to as ineffective in their life are concerning themselves and putting time and emotional energy into things that they have no influence over. So, for example, what your favorite politician is or isn't doing. You might have influence in terms of your vote or maybe like sending an email and like lobbying or things like that. But for the most part, you need to make sure your time, energy, and effort and cognitive function is also the output from that is worth it. And the examples we gave are, for me, the Patriots in 2007. I'll never forget this. I was in college, and if you don't know this, in 2007, the Patriots were undefeated.
Oh, yeah?
And they lost to the Giants, the New York Giants,
in
the Super Bowl at the very last minute with the helmet catch. Yeah, that was unreasonable. I got so upset. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine in my college dorm came out of his room all excited because he hated the Patriots because he wasn't from New England, and I got very upset with him. That was the last time I decided to really care too much about sports because the emotional investment that I gave to that when I have no influence over the outcome just didn't make sense to me anymore. So that's just my example.
For me, it's UFC. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see, not every Saturday, but pretty often I'll be watching UFC. I'm a huge fan. I didn't see it this weekend because we were in New York, Taryn and I, but I don't have any control over the fighters. I don't have any control over who wins and loses. So if I have a favorite, the point of this is it's not to not like UFC. It's not to not like the Patriots. But if a fighter loses and that wrecks my night, I'm wasting that energy on something that doesn't necessarily matter unless I know that person.
Right.
Then it's different. But if you don't have influence over it and you guys are worrying about it, that means you're not worrying about the things that you do have influence over.
Right. We only have so much cognitive focus.
Right. So my challenge and the takeaway is don't allow things that you have no influence over to overtake the things that you do. And that's exactly what we just said. What are you guys, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, what are you focused on? Are you focused on the things that you have control over? Or are you focused on the things that in the long term don't matter that much to you and you can't change them? If you can't change it, then all you're doing when you're worrying about it is you're just being scarce. We got to go quick.
Yes. Last thing, if you can change it and you want to change it, do it. If you have no influence over it, you got to learn how to accept it. Yeah. And I think that that's just a really, really important skill set to have.
It is a practice, and that's something that I've been working on. I'm sure that's something that you've been working on. I've really gotten to the point now where it's like, okay, I did what I can do. It's off, and whatever you believe in, the universe, God, whatever, it's in that hands now. Right. I did do your best when you can, and when you let that boat off into the sea is in control.
Right,
and that's it. What are we doing next?
Oh,
are we doing
small talks on loneliness?
Are we going to do loneliness
or what was the other one? Building community?
No, we're going to do Scratching the Surface. So if you're listening to this on Monday, this Friday, we're going to do Scratching the Surface. We are going to have how to build your tribe.
Right. What did we decide on the other
How
one?
to find your people. I don't remember.
I don't either.
All right, well.
TBD.
You're going to hear it next.
Yes.
on
Wednesday.
We hope you enjoyed, and we will talk to you on Wednesday.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.